When you hear pros or semi-pro bettors talk about sports betting, you'll hear expected value come up a lot. It's for good reason, because expected value is how every single betting decision is made by pros. It's a way to measure how much of an edge you have on any given bet. We'll have a brief overview here, but where we really get into expected value is in the basics course. Besides expected value, psychologists also study ways people make value decisions. There are two theories to help explain this kind of decision making, called prospect theory and utility theory. Let's talk about how expected value, prospect theory, and utility theory relate to sports betting. First, we'll cover expected value. This is a fundamental concept in probability and statistics. It tells us the average outcome to expect if we repeat an action over and over. In sports betting, calculating the expected value is a way to estimate whether a bet will, over time, be profitable. This definition of value is completely numbers-based. You calculate it using probabilities and dollar amounts. If the expected value is positive, you bet. If it's negative, you don't bet. It's designed to be very black and white, so we don't let biases creep in and affect our decisions. Next, we have prospect theory. Prospect theory explains how we value things a little bit differently. This theory was developed by Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky. It includes the idea that losses have more of an emotional impact on someone than wins do. We actually already talked about that concept, and you might remember that as being called loss aversion. So prospect theory is different from expected value because it accounts for loss aversion. So it suggests that people like bets where the losses don't hurt as badly. You might see this come into play for both favorites and underdogs, just depending on how you personally think about it. For favorites, you need to bet a lot to win a little. You might see the favorite as having a low chance of losing, so that doesn't trigger your loss aversion. Or you might look at it as you betting a lot to win a little, so the win isn't going to feel that good anyway, but the loss will definitely hurt. What we see in real life is a mix of the two. People who don't understand betting and expected value love to link a bunch of bets on favorites together in what's called a parlay. Multiple teams have to win for your parlay to win, and you get paid out a lot for betting a small amount, and they view the bet as hard to lose because it all involves favorites. These end up usually being one of the worst bets you can make, which we'll talk about more in later courses. Okay, last up is utility theory. Utility theory focuses on how happy spending money makes us. So that means what utility or use we get out of something. In betting, utility theory says we make decisions based on the happiness or the excitement we get from an outcome, beyond the amount of money you win or the amount of money you lose. So this all depends on personal preferences, how much money you're starting with, and how much you like risk. So this can explain why some bettors might choose a bet that has negative expected value, but offers a chance to win a lot of money. People get a huge amount of personal satisfaction from betting on those long shot parlays and occasionally winning one. They ignore the fact that huge parlays are one of the worst bets you can make because they get a thrill out of it and they can brag after a rare win. So they get a lot of personal use or personal utility from those bets. Okay, those are three common general ways we can explain value-based decision making. When most people think about betting, their actions can be explained pretty well by utility or prospect theory, or a combination of the two. I do think it's important to consider how betting emotionally impacts you, and you shouldn't trade your mental health for your money. But if your goal is to make the most money possible, you should be using expected value. That's the bottom line. If you want to maximize profits, your emotion should be completely taken out of the equation. That might not be possible for everyone, or maybe for anyone, but that's ultimately the goal. Okay, let's recap. Expected value is a way to measure your projected profit on any given bet and focuses on the long term. Prospect theory factors in the idea that people hate losing more than they like winning. Utility theory focuses on what personal gain we get from betting outside of money. These are good ways to explain how people make decisions, but if your goal is to make money, you need to follow expected value. We'll talk about expected value in the basics course, but for now, that is everything you need to know about the psychology of value.